So I've had this iPad for a few weeks now, and if you watched the video in which I had used this for the first time, you'll know that I got this to start adding some colour to my drawings, right? And so in this video, I'm going to be colouring another one of my drawings, and whilst I do so, I thought I could talk a bit about my process, because I've been using an app called Procreate that I'm finding very easy to use, and so with that being said, let's get into this and see how it goes. So today I'm going to be colouring this drawing that I recently finished, and I was thinking about how I should approach this one, like what colours would work well with this. To get me started, I looked at some randomly generated colour palettes online and found one that I thought would be interesting to use. This green colour at the end is a little odd, but I wondered if I could have this train in the image here be green, and then all the more warm orange and red colours I could use for the background, because this train is the main focus here, and so if it's in a different colour to everything else, it will stand out more. Looking back at that colour palette now though, it reminds me of those fruit pastel ice pops you can get. They are a similar colour, I think. Anyways, I started to colour this in, and I decided to have the train be red and keep this background yellow. I was curious to how I could make use of that green colour, so I started colouring in the building in the background here. As I progressed and started to add more of these colours, I was beginning to doubt whether this would work, but, you know, trust in the colour palette, so they say. I don't think anyone says that, but I was trying to stick with this to see how it turned out. I added some more colour and then decided, you know what, this isn't working. I don't think this colour palette is the one. So then I went to the adjustment panel and started to alter the colour balance until I found something that was more appealing. Colours that I thought were easier on the eyes, which ended up being some very warm colours, yellow, orange and red. Look, I've owned up to this before, and I'll say it again, I don't know too much when it comes to colour, right? I'm kind of a beginner in that field. In fact, one of you commented on the last video saying that it helps to have a colour wheel to look at. Apparently that helps to decide on which colours to use, so that's what I've been meaning to do. I need to learn more about that, and just watch some videos on the subject. That's my homework. For now, the logic behind these colours that I choose comes down to whether or not I think it looks good, which, I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but it would be nice to have a better understanding of colour. I'm actually excited to learn more about it. Like, I'm aware that colours can evoke different feelings, and being able to choose colours based on those things will really benefit my artwork. Especially when it comes to these drawings that I create, because I'm always drawing scenes that I think really come to life more when colour is added. It helps create a certain aesthetic that I struggle to achieve when my drawings are only in pencil. That's one of the reasons why I started to add some colour to my drawings, because sometimes my drawings can look overly detailed to the point where, you know, it's hard to see what's going on, whereas when I use colour, I'm able to organise the image better. I can differentiate between different elements and draw focus to certain areas in the image. Like if you look at this drawing, now that I've added some colour, you can easily see what's in the image, and this train stands out more due to it being coloured in red against the yellow and orange background. You can see on screen now how I start to colour separate areas of the drawing, selecting different shades of orange using the colour picker. Now, what I've noticed is that when it comes to adding colour, I usually keep it simple and stick to one or two colours, right? Obviously, I add different shades of those colours, but like for instance, this drawing, I'm using orange or yellow and red. And in the previous video, where I coloured a drawing for the first time, I had only used the colour blue, right? And when I look at my other work that I had coloured in the past, the same is true there. I only ever use one or two colours, maybe three depending on the drawing, but I kind of like this because, I mean, when you see all of these drawings together, they look great because each one has their own colour that suits the drawing. Like if you've had a look at my online store, you'd have seen all of the drawings that are next to each other, and I personally think it looks quite good like that all of them have their own colours, and like I said earlier, I try to make the colours suit the scene that I'm drawing. The colour blue, for instance, is often used when creating a scene at night, and so that worked well with the last drawing that I did. And with this drawing that I'm colouring here, I think these warmer colours, yellow, orange and red, these work well with the drawing of this train at the station here. In fact, I'm going to call this piece Sunset Station, and you'll see me colour in the sky in a moment. Here I'm just adding some darker tones to some of this, which really helps some of this stand out. As I'm working on the drawing, I often play around with the colour balance as well, so to see if I can get anything that looks better. Here you can see I decided to alter these colours to a little more pink and purple, which, looking back now, I don't think looks as good, but you'll see soon how I revert back to something more similar to those warmer colours. Anyways, here I start to create a sky at sunset. I had looked at a picture online too to see what colours I needed to use, and then I hid all of these layers so that I had a blank canvas. I started with a yellow, then switched to an orange colour which I laid on top. I made an effort to blend this into the yellow by altering the pressure that I was applying with the pencil as well. I chose a darker orange and slowly worked my way up to a red colour, and so you can see the gradient that I'm creating here. I then turned on these hidden layers so that I can see this in the background, and I cleaned this up a little by adding some softer tones to blend this together more. I even add some blue at the top of this, but I make sure that it's only subtle. I was really happy once I added in that sky at sunset. It gave me a better feel for the image, and you know that's usually the case when I create a drawing. I might have some doubts in my head, but I decide to stick with it, and as I progress with it, I start to get a better idea of what it is I'm drawing and where it's going, and so usually it turns out okay. I went back and changed the colour balance, deciding to go for a more orange colour for the train, and then I begin adding some detail to this. I found that a lot of this is trial and error, right? Like I think, oh, I wonder if this would look good. And so then I try it and then I'm like, oh no, that doesn't work. So I use undo and then I try it again. Wouldn't it be good if we had an undo button in real life here? Any mistakes we could make, we could just undo and try again. Instead, we all have to live with our mistakes. Anyways, I'm almost finished with this drawing now, and I'm really happy with this one. Each time I finish a piece like this, it makes me want to move right on to the next one. Here I'm just making some final adjustments, playing around with the adjustment settings, and altering some of those colours slightly. But overall, this is the second drawing that I have coloured using Procreate, and I mean, I feel like I've only scratched the surface of Procreate. I haven't used any of the other brushes yet. I only use the default brush because that's kind of all I need when it comes to doing what I do here. So there we go, that is the final result. I like how this one has turned out, and if you like this image, I do have prints of this up on the store. If you go over to danbeardshaw.store, you'll see all of the artwork that I have on there. I have a lot of coloured prints, and I will be replacing them as I create more, so I mean if you like any of them, now's the chance to get them. But with that being said, I hope you enjoyed the video as well. If you did, then please leave a like. Thank you for watching, keep on drawing, and I will see you in the next one. If you enjoyed the content I create, then do consider becoming a patron on Patreon. You will gain access to exclusive tutorials, study documents, process papers, real-time drawing footage and more. Plus, you will also be supporting me in a more personal way. Other than that, thank you for watching this video and I'll see you soon.